pleased.
All right, it is 8:15 and we are now in session. Present at the moment are myself, Vice Chair David Blackwelder, and at-large EC member David Ulmer. And David had a good idea. I'm going to see if I can find the agenda. It would be in my calendar. Okay. I don't know if that the November meetings have been minutes have been posted. I didn't see them last time I checked, which was a few days back, and Marie isn't here to defend herself, so we'll just skip that agenda item for now. Moving on to the chair report. Not much to report on the North Carolina General Assembly front. There is one fairly minorly exciting item, which is with respect to House Bill 825, the so-called electoral reform bill that includes, among other odious items, a statewide ban on ranked choice voting, which is, as David Ulmer has pointed out, purely performative, as ranked choice voting is currently banned effectively in North Carolina. No one can engage in it without permission from the North Carolina General Assembly. In any event, that ban probably would be, an obstacle to move forward with ranked choice voting, even on a county or municipal level. So it'd be better if it didn't become law. And Ryan and we've recently learned that it is very likely that that ban will be taken out of that bill, if in fact it makes any progress at all, and it's somewhat questionable whether it's going to advance in the short session. So that was good. Um, Now, at this point, Maria, when you get to your editing, we should take you should excise the what's going to happen now for the next like 5 minutes or however long it takes for us to get through this, and then resume at the end of that time. So the next item of the agenda is the WakeLP priority discussions.
Real quick, I just want to point out that there is an HB 369 that's of some interest for people that don't think government should decide how many parking spaces we need on private property or allocated for businesses. So that will be the Zoom meeting is about that Tuesday night. Matt Lazakis said he might attend if he can. I don't think I'll be able to, but that is another bill that is out there that is, at least for those of us that follow urban development and planning and libertarian waiting issues, it's of some interest. So it's HB 369.
So if that passed, it would allow the people building the buildings to decide how many parking spaces their clients need.
Correct, which is what we now have in Raleigh. So basically, in some urban environments, for example, um, the builder of an apartment complex may decide, like instead of, for example, like 1.5 parking spaces per unit, that there's enough good public transportation around and whatever, and go with 1.25. Businesses, again, some businesses that only see their customers one or twice a day, or maybe sequentially, like maybe a lawyer or accountant, if they're a small business, might be able to get by with one parking space for customers or two at the most. The bottom line is it lets the business owner kind of have more flexibility in determining how many parking spaces. And it sounds trivial, except when you realize that for some things like housing in urban environments, providing a parking space can actually add, a couple 10,000 to $20,000 per unit as far as cost, just because most of those now come with those huge parking decks. So there's some flexibility for the property owner, business owner to then kind of figure out what's going to work best in his environment instead of a one size fits all from a big manual type solution.
Egads, but who will build the roads?
Yeah, well, I mean, on a more serious note, then I mean, right? I mean, in a business, obviously, if they can't find parking for their clients, then they suffer. So there is a solution in the sense that, some customers might have to work or walk a half mile to get to a business, and then they'll be upset. But plenty of time now on that topic. I just wanted to point
Yes.
out that that was another bill we're possibly tracking.
Yeah, Maria, you can include that part in now and make the cut now. So the next item on the agenda is the WakeLP priority discussions. And what that means is that thanks to the 324,000 votes that we received for Libertarian candidates in Wake County, part of 1.1 million statewide, so it was a good year all around. But of course, we account for 13% of the population and over a third of the votes. So generally speaking, you know, we're more than pulling our weight, shall we say. Thanks to that, and also a nod to Ryan Brown's performance in House 32, knocking off Frank Sossaman and costing the Republicans their supermajority in the House. There's now doors open to us that were not open in the past. And Ryan, with some help from me, has been taking advantage of that in having conversations, in particular, focused on the House, because the House, of course, is where they're lacking their supermajority. And there's a fellow by the name of Luke Stansel, who is basically the chief cat herder for the Republicans in the House. I believe he reports directly to Justin Hall, who's the Speaker of the House and Republican leader. And he's certainly he's a paid political operative. I think he's paid by the party, although it may be that he's paid by the legislature because they allow the speaker to have an executive. But I guess that's probably the second scenario, is probably the most likely. In any event, he's a professional. He also, I found out last week, is responsible for recruiting for their candidates for their 120 House seats. Of course, they don't go after all 120, but whatever. He's basically, that's his responsibility. So he's a pretty important guy. Anyway, he was the person that initiated the conversation with Aaron Paret that Ryan and I had last July, where we talked about certificate of need, constitutional carry, of course, was Ryan's big topic, and electoral reform, in particular, ranked choice voting. His interest is in having us not run anyone in 35, which is Mike Sheetzelt, and 37, which is Aaron Paret. Those are the only two Republican members of the Wake County, 19-person Wake County, North Carolina General Assembly delegation. All 6 senators are Democrats, and 11 of the 13 House members are Democrats. And we did run candidates in both of those districts last cycle. And also not running anybody in 32, where Ryan almost certainly caused the Republican incumbent Frank Sossaman to lose to Brian, I want to say Connolly. I'm not sure I have the last name right, the Democrat who ran and won by just over 100 votes. Ryan had over 1,100 votes in his campaign. So in return for that, they have been willing to do a number of things for us. And we'll see if this comes true. But what they have promised us essentially is, first of all, and this is coming true as near as I can tell so far, Luke is coordinating with me to try to avoid situations where a libertarian and a Republican are both running against a Democrat. It's pretty easy because Luke doesn't, they only ran 10 for those 19 seats. They only ran 10 candidates for those 19 seats last cycle. So there's a bunch he's leaving out open regardless of any agreement. So it's not really a huge sacrifice. But we're actually looking at some places where it's marginal. And he has, from what he's told me, talked to a couple of guys who were going to run out of, that weren't, feeling it, but were willing to run, basically told them to veer off. And we have agreed not to recruit for 35 and 37 or 32. And I've let him know where else I have holes. I'm encouraging, for example, to run somebody against Cynthia Ball because I can't find somebody for 49. Anyway, so those conversations have, we've been texting back and forth every other day or so through this first week of filing. And they've also agreed to eliminate the ban on ranked choice voting, which again, not a huge sacrifice since they're not planning to push the bill forward anyway, probably. But if it does go forward, it would go forward without that ban. Dustin Hall is basically committed to that, according to Luke, who would know. And also, they agreed, Luke agreed not to have, basically guaranteed that there would be no issues if Aaron Paret and Mike Sheetzelt signed on to a request to the North Carolina State Board of Elections to run a ranked choice voting assessment, needs assessment for Wake County. So we've scaled back. Our original plan was to go to the legislature and ask them to approve a needs assessment. But now this is not my idea. Lenny Friedman came up with this, realized that it's not uncommon for a request to be made of the North Carolina State Board of Elections directly from individual um, members of the House um, or Senate. So we're going to ask those two to headline a request for a needs assessment. Lenny has drafted it, and he's still working on it because his original draft didn't didn't mention Wake County. I mean, the technical stuff was all right, but it didn't, focus on Wake County, which it needs to. Anyway, he's working on that, and I've been spearheading, lining up people to sign it, and we're looking to get people to sign it at the state level, at the county level, namely a couple of county commissioners. They're all Democrats, of course, but that's the way it goes. We have two Republicans from the North Carolina General Assembly, and we'll recruit a Democrat or two as well from the Wake delegation. And then the work that we all did talking to municipal candidates is paying off now because now we have several people that we know and know are reasonably favorable towards ranked choice voting that we can have from various localities, various of the municipalities in Wake County to also sign it. So far, Megan Patton has agreed to do so in Raleigh, and my next target in Raleigh is going to be Jonathan Lambert Melton. I know he's moving on to be a commissioner or try to be a commissioner in the next cycle, but for another year, he's going to be on the city council, and he's a fairly hefty weight in that body. So it'd be great to have him. We don't have a Republican, of course, in Raleigh, but we do have Republicans in some other localities like Zebulon and Wake Forest, and I think there may be one in Garner. We're going to try to get some Republicans on it as well, obviously. So this request would go directly to the North Carolina State Board of Elections and at least get us some publicity. Us, when I say us, I mean not just the LPNC, but also the Forward Party. Lenny is vice chair of the Forward Party, is behind this, and of course, Better Ballot North Carolina. So all these things are happening. I don't think I left anything out. We might do a combined softball team. No, just kidding about that. Um, so, these are conversations that definitely would not have happened even possibly 2 years ago, certainly not 4 years ago or earlier. So kudos. I want to just mention, I told this to you, David, you earlier today. And I mean, this is definitely the system that you set up is what makes this possible. There's no way we get 324,000 votes without the system that we've developed to be able to support our candidates. And I mean, most of those votes came from non-libertarians, obviously. It's only got 5,500 libertarians registered in Wake County. So um, anyway, I'll just open it up if there's any questions. I don't want to take a whole lot more time on this, but I do think it's important stuff and good news, generally speaking. Either David, I take that as a no. So Maria, you can resume the recording, and we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is, got to get back to my calendar.
The treasury report.
Oh yeah,
Sean
the
says we
treasury
have
report.
about 3,600 bucks.
Yeah, I was posted in Mattermost. Okay, on to future events. We are currently undergoing our candidate filing period. 1 week, 1/3 of it is gone. There's 2 more weeks to go. So far, we have had one candidate from Wake who filed. That was Matthew Corden. I went with him down there on Tuesday, I think it was, and he's filed for H11. We have, I think, 3 or 4 more that are going to file this coming week, and then the rest will file on our mass filing day, which is going to be a very big mass this year, which is Tuesday the 16th. Um,
Are you free on the 17th and or 18th?
I will be, let's see, the 16th is Tuesday. Wednesday, the 17th, I'm free. Yes. The 18th and the
Okay.
19th, I will not be free. I will be traveling to Florida, and David B has
Okay.
agreed to cover those last 2 days.
Okay, because
in
there's
case
always one, right?
yeah, there could
There's
be a
always a
stray
stray
person.
that we have to go hunt down, like one that doesn't have his own car or whatever. I realize we're addressing that,
That
but
I've already
I'm
done
just
that.
saying,
I took
I,
Corden there, and in fact, I'm going to do it twice
I,
this time because I
yeah,
got
not the
Lucas.
de yeah, not the details for each candidate. I just point out that
Right.
if you miss one on the 16th, please share that
Of
quickly.
course,
Theoretically, I'm free on the morning of the 19th, although if on my birthday you make me do this, I will send you a snarky little message. But fair enough, just make sure you keep Blackwelder and myself involved if you need help on the 18th or 19th for a straggler that we need to chase down, shackle, and drag to BOE.
I appreciate the offer. And David B, the one thing that we need to figure out is to get you the checkbook or a check or something. Maybe the best thing to do is just for me to pre-sign a blank check and get that to you. Can't imagine there'd be more than one. Well, maybe I'll give you two just to be safe, super safe. We have, a week and a half to get to figure this out. Um, but I need the checkbook, or I need checks on Tuesday the 16th, obviously. I can't give you the checkbook before then, but I could get you checks sooner than that. Anyway, we'll take that offline, figure it out. Um, Next item on the agenda is the convention. You all should sign up for the convention. It's good to have on social media if you've signed up on Facebook and meetup.com if you're on Meetup to encourage other people to come. It always is nice if they see that there's already a crowd forming there. We're going to be doing some promotion of that event as well. And I'm thinking I have not actually talked to the folks at um, Tobacco Road yet, but I'm thinking based on the experience that we had with the BBNC event that we could most likely have it in the press box. I mean, that clearly could hold 40 or so people, and we're not likely to get more than 40 or 50 at the outside. I think they had seats for 48. Um, so anyway, we'll see how attendance is going. Right now, it doesn't look like an overwhelming level of interest in that event, so the press box seems like a good bet. Um, the next item, we have a Hurricanes game on the 22nd. If any of you guys are going, please sign up. I have a deadline of tomorrow. Actually, I actually reserved 16 seats. That looks pretty optimistic right now. Last time I looked, there were 4 seats spoken for. And one of those is Madge, who's actually going to be in Florida, as it turns out now. So I've got to sell her ticket to somebody else. So I'm probably going to go down to the minimum, which is 10. Um, and Obviously, it'd be nice to actually sell all 10 of those and not having to do that outside on the night of the 22nd, um, which I guess it would be possible to do. I mean, it should be no problem getting rid of these seats. They're $80 seats and we're getting them for $60. So, um, if we sell them at face value, it should be pretty easy to do, but I'd rather not have to do that, obviously. Um,
How many are signed up right now?
Last time I checked, it was 4, but again,
Okay, so it's four.
yeah,
Does that include me and Yvonne? Or Yvonne and
no,
I?
so that would be 6, but
Okay.
it's really 5 because one of those is Madge. So, and I think Rob Rose is going to come with his wife. So we could be up to like 7-ish, which isn't too bad. But I don't think it'll be a problem, but just it'd be nice to get them all spoken for. 2 of the 4 that I'm talking about are tickets that we're going to give away to the winner of the drawing for the 2 tickets that we're holding for folks that donate money to the Candidate Accelerator Program. So, all right. Anyway, on to AI and tech jobs and preparing for a dollar meltdown. Haven't done anything on those. Those will be in 2026. And I believe that David, you mentioned that Patrick had an idea for a speaker for 2026.
Uh, yeah, I wish we had sidebar. Anyway, so the guy's name is Shane Lucas, and it was about sex work. I, God, I don't like public forum meetings, so I'm gonna just table my opinion, and maybe you will follow up with me at a later time. Yeah, these recorded meetings are not, um, yeah. So I will just be quiet.
All right. So that's something to take offline. Um, on to new business. So, two items on the agenda are the 2026 plan of organization. I posted my suggestions for this in Mattermost, and David Yu has responded. I don't know if anybody else has any strong feelings about it, but if I don't get any more feedback, that's basically what it's going to be. These are really pretty simple changes. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything that's in the remotest sense controversial. But of course, that's my opinion because I'm making the change or suggesting the changes. Somebody else may have a different opinion, but so far, no one has evinced any such concerns. So, if you haven't had a chance to look at it yet and you're hearing this message, that would be something that you should look at rather than wait until, January 14th and just look at it for the first time then. Um, then the RCV needs assessment. I've kind of talked about this already. Basically, what we're doing is that collection of folks in Wake County, that is to say, elected officials, currently elected officials in Wake County, to come up with a request to the North Carolina State Board of Elections, which we presume they would most likely detail the Wake County Board of Elections to actually perform. And the needs assessment document, as I alluded to earlier, is pretty specific in terms of the kinds of things that we're asking them to look at. And they may come up with other things too. It's not necessarily only whatever they think is appropriate. They may know of things to look at that we wouldn't think of. So anyway, that's moving apace, and it's a cooperative effort, as I mentioned before, between LPNC, mostly me, um, the Forward Party, mostly Lenny, and Better Ballot North Carolina. Any questions about either of those items? All right, on to old business. Uh, David B. and I are working on fundraising, and currently we have basically a specific raise asked for the candidate accelerator program for 2026, which and the target is $6,000. And thus far, we've raised, I looked at it earlier today, $1,005 so far. Um, that is actually, I think it's $505 of organic raising, and then another $500 was kicked in by our anonymous donor who's matching the first $1,000 or the first, yeah, first $1,000. I guess he hasn't put in the other $5 yet. The first $1,000 of donations. So that will get us to $2,000, but we still have $4,000 more to go after that. David, do you want to talk a little bit about your snail mail plan?
Yes, I was going to try and get out as many as I can. I just got actually today the rest of the supplies except for the return address stamper, which should come in probably, I would say, sometime next week. So then I'm going to basically have pretty much to where all I need to do is just stamp the return address and send them out. And my goal is to at least send out 1,000 before the dead, like before the end of this month, or maybe more. I'm gonna try and I would like to get 1,500 or try to get 2,000, but it's just going to take time to get them together. But I do have at least 500 ready to go. I just need that return address stamper. So I should have the rest ready to go, and then we'll send them out and see how that works. And then I guess if it after the new year, we can just kind of change the wording to where it doesn't have the Canes tickets, and then we'll just send out the rest to everyone else throughout, I guess, the next few months.
Yeah, sounds good. The deadline, of course, only applies to the eligibility for getting the Canes tickets. The people are certainly welcome to continue to contribute after the end of the month. And we could technically, I guess, we could extend that time to a week or two because the Canes game is on the 22nd, and if somebody contributes by, like, say, January 15th, that still would give us time to do a drawing and figure out who gets the tickets, and they're electronic. They're not papers. They don't have to be mailed or anything like that. So maybe we should just do that. Maybe how many copies of the letter have you printed?
I've copied about like I did the 500 and stopped because I needed the ink and I just got all the ink. So I planned on
Okay.
printing a bunch.
I'll give you a new letter with a deadline of the 15th or something like that. You know, 15th is a Thursday because the 14th is a Wednesday. So we could make it the 16th, Friday the 16th. So
Of
I'll give you a new
January.
version of yeah, I'll give you a new
Okay.
letter.
I mean, I can just go in there and I'll just change it to January 16th or whatever that Friday and print it out. You ain't got to do
Okay, I
that.
gave you an electronic. I didn't remember what I'd given you. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I use it off the share drive, so and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have it
yeah,
in a
yeah,
Word
yeah.
doc.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
cool. Yeah. So
I'll just
make that
change it.
change. Make that change in the next batch you print.
All
Now,
right.
here's a question. Can you use volunteer help? Could we do like a Saturday if I could find two or three people to help with would that speed things up? Is it
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if people want to help, do the folding and stuffing them, that would help big time. Yeah.
okay, cool.
Because I mean,
Uh,
if you want to send out, like if we did that, we could probably easily knock out and do 3,000 before the deadline. So if not more,
right.
so,
Yeah. Well,
or even get all 5,000, that'd be great.
we're coming up on holiday time, which is tough, tough ask for volunteers, but we might be able to
Yeah.
do it like early in January. Um, all right, I will take it on seeing what I can do about scouring up some physical labor help. So, like, the best thing would be like on a weekend to come to your place. Is that how it would work best? Or would you recommend a bar we could work at? Or, I mean, we'll think about that and let me know. I don't need the answer right now. Um, all right, RCV needs assessment. Right. Okay, I think that's everything on the Cap F. Any questions,
Do
David?
you, do you think we could do it at a meetup or something? Just like
Well, a
one
meetup
meetup.
only gives us an hour, really. I mean, and there's people eating dinner. I think it would be better to have a dedicated 2 or 3 hour session or 3 or 4 hour session somewhere where we could work and not have like a table or something, where we could all work around like a dining room table.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. So your place would probably be best, or unless we could find a friendly bar where we can take a table and not order very much. Um, all right. Business meeting recordings posted on YouTube. Maria isn't here. So we'll skip that. Any other questions, topics that I haven't discussed or that we haven't discussed that need to be discussed? Going once, going twice. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, excellent. We are adjourned. That was, let's see, will be 28 minutes. So it was more than 20. I apologize, but not too bad. Great. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm really pleased with the progress we're making here. I know that there aren't a lot of us very active, but the momentum that we built up is really working in our favor, and things are going well in my estimation. So thank you all for everything you do, and we'll be in touch again soon. Bye now.